All right, beautiful people. Happy Saturday. Hope everyone is being well. Grateful for what has been a really good start to the weekend. Looking forward to trusting God with some energy to sustain me to get back into dissertation writing. It's like seeing the finish line, wanting it real bad for folks who've ran and ran for a while, and just praying for like a timely second win, praying not to catch a bad cramp. But I know all is going to be well. I feel like embracing the journey of being a full-time professional, trying to do my best to be a present, supportive spouse and a good mama. It's been a lot of cool lessons learned and some good shower cry moments and some good, oh my Lord, help me, I need you moments. But I know that I'm not the first to travel down this road, and as the Lord will, I know I will not be the last to be inspired to continue to be a learner, stretch the beautiful brain, um, find ways to contribute to the profession that I love. And in the world that, we live in, get the necessary credentials to not just be heard, but be listened to. There was a couple reasons why I even decided to continue. And a huge shout out to my late papa, Jerry McAfee. He was the reason that I kept going when I figured I was over education and good to just make a career at public supermarkets. Shout out to public supermarkets. Move on up into management after my undergraduate experience, but had a good conversation with him I'll never forget. And him being just honest and open about what he understands to be a good doorway, which was education. Him sharing with me his story of having an eighth grade education, him sharing with me coming up, how him and his siblings grew up. So I am truly standing on the shoulders of phenomenal men and women who had so many more barriers than I had, that prevented them from being able to aspire and attain the things that I have been able to, and I'm ever grateful. But sometimes it's important to think back on your why. And for me, it's always been about honoring God, honoring my family, and doing something that I can be proud of. So that's why even when I find myself being stressed and frustrated, overwhelmed, and trying to figure out why in the world did I decide that it made sense to go back to school after being out of school for 10 years. My last degree, I finished December 2011. Degree came in the mail. Official conferment was technically January 2012. That's what's on the degree, but I got through and was finished with school that past fall of 2011. And fast forward how life went, went into continuing to pursue higher education. For those that don't know the journey, stayed in housing and residence life. Most folks still call them dorms. If you haven't been back on the campus inside of dorms, you will realize that there's so much more, which is why we refer to them as residence halls. But it's just amazing that I am where I am, and I will be finishing, continuing to name May 2nd is going to be a beautiful day, where I walk across that stage. And even though I'm not where I know I need to be or feel I need to be in my writing, I'm trusting God and knowing that it's already done. I just need to walk in it and not get overwhelmed with what I see and what I feel in the now. But also be okay with sitting in what I see and feel in the now, because it's valid emotions, valid stress. We're trying to manage doing all the things and still having a heart for people and not wanting to disappoint people. And just having I've always wanted to serve and do right. Shout out to my parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles who raised me to serve. Don't be selfish to a fault, but take care of you. You know what I'm saying? But I digress because most of y'all checked in to see me continue to share and read and learn just takeaways from reading the Old Testament a couple years back. So we're going to jump right into it. Last Saturday, or last Sunday, last weekend, rather, I stopped at chapter 15 of Numbers. So we are going to jump into 16, chapter 16 of Numbers. And what I wrote to get things started was, I got to read all of it. So there will be times where I'm doing more reading than I've probably done past times, but it has a lot to do with significance of things that stood out to me, and also to encourage y'all to pick it up or get on the app if you don't want to do the book and read along with me. But what I'm going to do is read my notes, and then I'm going to read 16. So my notes definitely started with read all of it, because I was like, ooh, I love reading and just kind of seeing in my head, imagination, like how things were going down and what happened. But I was like, ooh, they was on one. And with 16, specifically verses 1 through 40, it did not work. It didn't end well for them. That's what I say. But Moses and Aaron has a stressful job, is my takeaway from reading chapter 16. And these people, aka Hebrews, Israel, the people, the nation, the Israelites, they just could not get right. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and read 16, and then we're going to keep it pushing until we get to 20, or until I realize we've been doing this for 35 plus minutes, and it's good to just find a good place to stop until next time as the Lord wills. So Numbers chapter 16 reads, Now Korah, the son of Ishar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, with Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and on the son of Peleth, sons of Reuben, took men. And they rose up before Moses with some of the children of Israel, 250 leaders of the congregation, representatives of the congregation, men of renown. They gathered together against Moses and Aaron and said to them, You take too much upon yourselves, for all the congregation is holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Why then do you exalt yourselves above the assembly of the Lord? They tripping, but they feel validated and feeling like they don't know why Moses and Aaron, quote unquote, more special than the assembly, who being called by God and our God as well. Verse 4. So when Moses heard it, he fell on his face. Verse 5. And he spoke to Korah and all his company, saying, Tomorrow morning the Lord will show who is his and who is holy, and will cause him to come near to him. That one whom he chooses, he will cause to come near to him. Verse 6. Do this. Take censers, Korah and all your company. Verse 7. Put fire in them and put incense in them before the Lord tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom the Lord chooses is the Holy One. You take too much upon yourselves, you sons of Levi. So Moses is hitting them with the clapback. Verse 8. Then Moses said to Korah, Hear now, you sons of Levi. 9. Is it a small thing to you that the God of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel, to bring you near to himself, to do the work of the tabernacle of the Lord, and to stand before the congregation to serve them? Verse 10, and that he has brought you near to himself, you and all your brethren, the sons of Levi, with you? And are you seeking the priesthood also? Verse 11, therefore you and all your company are gathered together against the Lord. And what is Aaron that you complain against him? 12, and Moses sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, but they said, We will not come up. 13, is it a small thing that you have brought us up out of a land flowing with milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness, that you should keep acting like a prince over us? So they're going back and forth. And I love how they do the, is it a small thing? Far as like they clap back to say what's frustrating them, because they both feel strongly, and they all feel strongly about God with me too. So what makes you special? Here we go, right? They throwing a little dirt back and forth. But two of them said, we ain't coming up there. The rest of them did what the Lord spoke to Moses to do. Y'all keep watching. So here we go back and forth on verse 14. Moreover, you have not brought us into a land flowing with milk and honey, nor given us inheritance of fields and vineyards. Will you put out the eyes of these men? We will not come up. So that's Dathan and Abiram clapping back at Moses, because he noticed 248 out of 250 have done what needed to be done, and those two still at the bottom, like, man, we ain't coming up there. And then they feeling some type of way. You ain't kept your promise, so why I gotta do what you saying? Essentially, what's happening. So, verse 15. Then Moses was very angry and said to the Lord, do not respect their offering. I have not taken one donkey from them, nor have I hurt one of them. 16. And Moses said to Korah, tomorrow you and all your company be present before the Lord, you and they, as well as Aaron. 17. Let each take his censer and put incense in it, and each of you bring his censer before the Lord. 250 censers, both you and Aaron, each with his censer. 18. So every man took his censer, put fire in it, laid incense on it, and stood at the door to the tabernacle of meeting with Moses and Aaron. 19. And Korah gathered all the congregation against them at the door of the tabernacle of meeting. Then the glory of the Lord appeared to all the congregation. 20. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, 21. Separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. 22. Then they fell on their faces and said, O God, the God of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin and you be angry with all the congregation? 23. So the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, 24. Speak to the congregation, saying, get away from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. 25. Then Moses rose and went to Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. 26. And he spoke to the congregation, saying, depart now from the tents of these wicked men. Touch nothing of theirs, lest you be consumed in all their sins. 27. So they got away from around the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. And Dathan and Abiram came out and stood at the door of their tents with their wives, their sons, and their little children. 28. And Moses said, by this you shall know that the Lord has sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of my own will. 29. If these men die naturally like all men, or if they are visited by the common fate of all men, then the Lord has not sent me. Verse 30. This is where y'all pay attention. 30. But if the Lord creates a new thing, and the earth opens its mouth and swallows them up with all that belongs to them, and they go down alive into the pit, then you will understand that these men have rejected the Lord. 31. Now it came to pass, as he finished speaking all these words, that the ground split apart under them. 32. And the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up with their households, and all the men with Korah with all their goods. 33. So they and all those with them went down alive into the pit. The earth closed over them, and they perished from among the assembly. That's when I was like, ooh. 34. Then all Israel who were around them fled at their cry, for they said, lest the earth swallow us up also. Like, I'm getting up out of here. 35. And a fire came out from the Lord and consumed 250 men who were offering incense. So those original 250 who came at Moses and Aaron, trying to say, like, what makes y'all special? Because we special too. God called us too. He consumed them by fire. 36. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, 37. Tell Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, to pick up the censers out of the blaze, for they are holy, and scatter the fire some distance away. 38. The censers of these men who sinned against their own souls, let them be made into hammered plates as a covering for the altar, because they presented them before the Lord. Therefore they are holy, and they shall be a sign to the children of Israel. 39. So Eleazar, the priest, took bronze censers with those who were burned up, had presented, and they were hammered out as a covering on the altar. 40. To be a memorial to the children of Israel, that no outsider who is not a descendant of Aaron should come near to offer incense before the Lord. that he might not become like Korah and his companions, just as the Lord has said to him through Moses. I'm going to stop there because that was a significant story that goes on to show people will always feel entitled or sometimes intimidated by what they don't understand by another people who they see is favored. We as believers find ourselves doing these type of things as well among the brethren, among one another. At the end of the day, we need to make sure our vertical relationship with the Most High is in a healthy place and continue to pray for one another, suffer along with one another, because I know we're going to get on each other's nerves. That's the beauty of being human. And never question what God is doing or try to belittle somebody else because we think that we are entitled to whatever it is that we perceive as favor. And it's real. Whenever you feel like that creep of oh, so-and-so think they're better than, shut that down. Shut that down. Go before the throne. Ask God to help you with the thoughts that you think that causes discord or insecurity. Ask God to help you with the matters of the heart that get in the way of arguments that don't need to be. Because this right here, that was, whew, is all I can say. But I'm going to keep reading 41 through 50 because this is when I had the takeaway of Moses and Aaron essentially having a stressful job. So this is still chapter 16, 41 through 49. All right, verse 41. On the next day, all the congregation of the children of Israel complained against Moses and Aaron, saying, "You have killed the people of the Lord." Now, I'm going to pause there because in my mind, I'm always thinking, as I'm reading through Numbers, how in the world are you blaming Moses and Aaron for something that you know God did? Like, you know God did it. You know God did it. So why, right? But here's the people being the people. So they essentially are blaming Moses and Aaron for the 250 that were set apart to continue to honor God and do what it is he asked them to do in the tabernacle of meeting as they continue to move to get to the land of Canaan. 42. Now it happened when the congregation had gathered against Moses and Aaron that they turned toward the tabernacle of meeting, and suddenly the cloud covered it, and the glory of the Lord appeared. 43. Then Moses and Aaron came before the tabernacle of meeting. 44. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, 45. Get away from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. And they fell on their faces. One thing I can say, I love reading. Moses and Aaron stayed showing reverence and respect to the Most High God. Instead of getting frustrated in the heat of the moment, especially when their own brother, sister, cousins and them was talking crazy and acting up, they didn't go back and forth with them. We'll see that there's a time where Moses and them, they get beside themselves again. Beauty of being human and frustrated. And there are consequences. But what I love is that Moses and Aaron always fell on their faces. They always went to God. Now I hear them complaining and mumbling and they looking like they're trying to do something. Let me go talk to God about it. They acting up. God ready to be about that business. God, let me intercede on their behalf, right? I just feel like that's something that we can all learn to do and or do better at when we're in situations where we're getting overwhelmed with people. Or individuals are testing patience, or individuals are being disrespectful or insensitive, whatever you want to call it. Don't argue, don't worry, don't stress, don't fight. We need to do that. Fall on our face before the Lord. Take it to the throne in prayer. But yeah, shout out to verse 46. But essentially, not verse 46, I'm sorry, but verse 45. They fell on their faces. 46. So Moses said to Aaron, take a censer and put fire in it from the altar, put incense on it, and take it quickly to the congregation and make atonement for them. For wrath has gone out from the Lord, the plague has begun. 47. Then Aaron took it as Moses commanded and ran into the midst of the assembly, and already the plague had begun among the people. So he put in the incense and made atonement for the people. 48. And he stood between the dead and the living, so the plague was stopped. When they put their mouth on God's chosen folk, Moses and Aaron, the Lord immediately sent a plague that was killing the people because of what was in their heart and what came out of their mouth speaking against Moses and Aaron. And Moses and Aaron decided, let's fall on our face before the Lord and find a way, right? Find a way to preserve these people because the Lord has made a promise to our forefathers, right? We trying to get them there. But the plague was stopped in verse 49. Now those who died in the plague were 14,700 besides those who died in the Korah incident. 50. So Aaron returned to Moses at the door of the tabernacle of meeting, for the plague had stopped. So I read that whole thing because it just made sense to read. And as I was reading, I kind of shared the takeaways and the things that resonated for 16. 17 now is another one that I'll read. We might not get to 20 when I think about the amount of reading because the verses are versing. I love reading. I enjoy the stories, but I do recognize, again, attention span, ability to focus. Even me having a little person pulling on my feet in this moment, as long as I can stay dialed in, that's what I'm going to do. But Numbers chapter 17 is going to teach us about the significance of Aaron's rod through the power of God. Consequence of death should you overstep and be disrespectful. We've already kind of seen that. But I will read 17:1. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, verse 2, speak to the children of Israel and get them a rod from each father's house, all their leaders according to their father's houses, 12 rods. Write each man's name on his rod. Verse 3, and you shall write Aaron's name on the rod of Levi, for there shall be one rod for the head of each father's house. 4, then you shall place them in the tabernacle of meeting before the testimony where I meet with you. 5, and it shall be that the rod of the man whom I choose will blossom. Thus I will rid myself of the complaints of the children of Israel, which they make against you. So this is God making things right. Atonement taking place, symbolism. You're going to see the rod. So, of course, made with some type of wood, blossom. So bud, some type of flower bud. And that was 5. Verse 6. So Moses spoke to the children of Israel, and each of their leaders gave him a rod apiece for each leader according to their father's houses, 12 rods. And the rod of Aaron was among their rods. Because y'all know Levi is not one of Jacob's 12 sons. Levites are God's chosen people that he took to consecrate for himself, to upkeep the tabernacle of meeting, to perform the laws and expectations of how to reverence and worship and make atonement, and make things right, from the sin offering to the peace offering to the heave offering to the wave offering. They dedicate their whole lives to do just that. Be for God, live for God, not outside among the general population to do all the things that they could do, but to genuinely just devote their livelihood to doing the will of God in his place, in the holy, not the holy of holies, because that's where God dwelt, but inside the tabernacle. So there's that as a recap. Now, verse 7, and Moses placed the rods before the Lord in the tabernacle of witness. 8. Now it came to pass on the next day that Moses went into the tabernacle of witness, and behold, the rod of Aaron of the house of Levi had sprouted and put forth buds, had produced blossoms, and yielded ripe almonds. So the Lord letting it be plain and clear whose side he's on, which person, the one that's it. None of the tribes. Like this is Aaron, the Levites. 9. Then Moses brought out all the rods before the Lord to all the children of Israel, and they looked, and each man took his rod. 10. And the Lord said to Moses, bring Aaron's rod back before the testimony, to be kept as a sign against the rebels, that you may put their complaints away from me, lest they die. Verse 11. Thus did Moses, just as the Lord had commanded him, so he did. 12. So the children of Israel spoke to Moses, saying, surely we die, we perish, we all perish. So remorse, respect. 13. Whoever even comes near the tabernacle of the Lord must die. Shall we all utterly die? And that's how 17 ends. Now, getting to 18, God speaks to Aaron, and what I wrote is like, it's such a privilege, right? Amazing. But when I read, I also see the pressure. There is pressure as a result of being called the way he's being called, him and his sons, to serve God. So privilege and pressure. He is responsible for keeping others in check. And when they don't listen, he suffers consequences because they are his people and he is responsible for his household doing what it is that God has called them to do. So what I'm going to do is read 18. I think verse 3 was the one that had the significance, but I will stop at verse 3 because that's kind of what stands out. Hold on 1 minute.
Today's Saturday. Everybody, what wrong in the car?
All right, verse 3. And you shall write Aaron's name on a rod of Levi, for there shall be one rod for the head of each father's house. That's 17, verse 3. If y'all heard somebody trying to sing, that was my husband. Apparently, they are a stickler on it's not a Sunday, when y'all know I've either done this on Saturdays at 4 or Sundays at 4. Saturday.
Earlier than 4.
No, I didn't. Can you stop being a distraction? I was on chapter 18 of Numbers, y'all. Y'all see that look? That's how I lovingly look at my husband. But verse 3. Verse 3. I don't even know what he's singing. Anyway. They shall attend to your needs and all the needs of the tabernacle, but they shall not come near the articles of the sanctuary and the altar lest they die, they and you also. So this is the Lord speaking to Aaron. And he said, get your sons in your father's house, because y'all are going to bear the iniquity related to the sanctuary. You and your sons with you shall bear the iniquity associated with your priesthood. So privilege and pressure. Verse 2. Also bring with you your brethren of the tribe of Levi, the tribe of your father, that they may be joined with you and serve you while you and your sons are with you before the tabernacle of witness. Verse 3, they shall attend to your needs and all the needs of the tabernacle, but they shall not come near the articles of the sanctuary and the altar, lest they die. They and you also. That's verse 3. Verse 4, they shall be joined with you and attend to the needs of the tabernacle of meeting for all the work of the tabernacle, but an outsider shall not come near you. Verse 5, and you shall attend to the duties of the sanctuary and the duties of the altar, that there may be no more wrath on the children of Israel. Verse 6, behold, I myself have taken your brethren, the Levites, from among the children of Israel. They are a gift to you, given by the Lord to do the work of the tabernacle of meeting. Verse 7, therefore you and your sons with you shall attend to your priesthood for everything at the altar and behind the veil, and you shall serve. I give your priesthood to you as a gift for service, but the outsider who comes near shall be put to death. So this is the Lord God speaking to Aaron, reminding him of his role, what it is that the Lord God wills for Aaron and his sons and his father's household to do, which is to serve. In the tabernacle of meeting, not with the rest of the people. Can't do what the rest of the people do. The rest of the people can't even come in or they will die. Privilege, pressure is what I see. So that was 18, 1 through 7. And then 8, let me see, make sure I'm keeping up with my notes. Keeping up with my notes. Verse 8, and the Lord spoke to Aaron, here, I myself have also given you charge of my heave offerings, all the holy gifts of the children of Israel. I have given them as a portion to you and your sons as an ordinance forever. 9. This shall be yours of the most holy things reserved from the fire. Every offering of theirs, every grain offering, and every sin offering, and every trespass offering which they render to me, shall be most holy for you and your sons. And 10, in a most holy place you shall eat it, every male shall eat it, it shall be holy to you. 11, this also is yours, the heave offering of their gift, with all the wave offerings of the children of Israel. I have given them to you and your sons and daughters with you as an ordinance forever. Everyone who is clean in your house may eat it. 12, all the best of the oil, all the best of the new wine and the grain, their first fruits which they offer to the Lord, I have given them to you. 13, whatever first ripe fruit is in their land, which they bring to the Lord, shall be yours. Everyone who is clean in your house may eat it. Every devoted thing in Israel shall be yours. Everything that first opens the womb of all flesh, which they bring to the Lord, whether man or beast, shall be yours. Nevertheless, the firstborn of man you shall surely redeem, and the firstborn of unclean animals you shall redeem. So I'm going to keep reading, but the whole point that we learn is because the Levites were chosen to do the will of God in the holy, in the tabernacle of meeting, inside, right? They didn't have a job. They didn't do the things that regular, nothing wrong, but non-consecrated people did. And because they didn't, if we kind of put it in modern day terms, the people took care of them. The things that they gave to God, God was like, y'all are mine. So I'm going to take care of you. If you're worried about what you're going to wear, what you're going to eat, what you're going to drink, I got you. Now, you're still going to do what I need you to do with the things that are offered to me, right? But you're not going to be stressed about, oh, I got to get a second job, right? I'm gonna do this much here, and then I'm going to go and do these things to enjoy my livelihood, right? They didn't have to go and get it or do anything to get it. They just needed to be obedient to God. And all the first fruits and all of the things, the drinks, the oils, just life, everything they needed was supplied. And it had everything to do with the people, God's people, hundreds of thousands, probably in the millions. It was hundreds of thousands when I look at the legit numbers that are in the book of Numbers. What they provided is how they lived. So they wasn't stressed about the things that some people would be worried about. They weren't out here bartering and trying to get what they needed for their house. It was already provided. So that's what we see here. And then 17 all the way through continues to just like reinforce that. So what we learn later on, because I'm gonna stop at, I start reading at like 16. I stopped at 15. But if you read 16 through 20, it just emphasizes, I need y'all to be fully devoted to me and obedient to me. And you don't have an inheritance of land. Like, it's your life, and how I need you to serve me is not going to be the same way as everyone else. And you won't have a portion. God is essentially saying, I am your portion. That's what he says in verse 20. I am your portion and your inheritance among the children of Israel. So how land was the thing that was passed down as a symbol of wealth and ability to gain and attain. The Lord was their portion. They didn't take, you can't take none with you anyways, right? But as we continue to read, what we will see and learn is that the Levites bore the sin of the people. And it was, to me, I just saw a lot of symbolism because this is before Christ. They were expected to be the atonement for the inevitability of people being stiff-necked people, before Christ Yeshua being our final sacrifice, being the ultimate atonement, the final atonement. So we see that clear as day, which I thought was pretty dope, in verses 21 through 32. And then we also learn what tithes were. That is one of those conversations that tends to be a ongoing, never-ending debate about who needs to tithe and why you tithe and what happens if you don't tithe. But this is what tithes were in the Old Testament. So as we read, those that God called to himself to devote their lives to God's will for himself in the tabernacle of meeting, so the Levites, Aaron's sons and his family, it was their daily sustenance, the tithes that were coming into the door for them to offer unto God through the steps that it needed to be done. What was burned by fire, what was a wave offering, what was a heave offering. They ate off of and lived off of the things that were offered unto God in reverence and respect according to his expectation of his people. And again, they didn't have no other job except for to do what God commanded them to do inside of the tabernacle of meeting. But if you want to get into like the details and the nitty gritty of all of that, verses 21 through 32 lays it out plain as day so that you can understand why they will receive the tithes and what the tithes were. But yeah, they ate and lived off of those things, which I thought was pretty good. And to me, it makes sense. If I devote my whole life in a tabernacle of meeting and I can't go out and do the things that everyone else is doing to live and be happy and whatever I think makes sense to leave legacy and inheritance to children, then you need something to be healthy and happy and focused on doing a good job. Moving right along, because we're kind of at that place where I'm just legit. I'm gonna stop probably at 19 instead of 20. We'll see. But Numbers 19 is about the laws regarding how to be clean, purification, and there was a lot of things about if you touch a dead body, you're unclean for X amount of days, and the steps you needed to take to purify yourself to be clean again and be back among the people, to not be disrespectful or unholy, unclean. If you were near a dead body, if you went into a tent where a loved one passed away, someone who died, if you touched any of their things after they had passed away, like it was considered being an unclean person. And then there were steps about how to become clean again, as far as like just laws of purification. So that was 19. And then wrapping up with 20, the people, back to being the people is what I read in 20, specifically verses 3 through 5. So I'm gonna read that really quickly. But 19, if folks do want to like dive deep into understanding what it was about, it truly was about how to be clean whenever you were around someone who had passed away, and or touched someone who had passed away and are in the vicinity of them. But let's wrap up with Numbers 20. Look at me. I didn't think I was going to get to finish, but I'm going to finish it. But Numbers chapter 20, verses, where we at? I said I was going to do 3 through 5. All right. So the people, back to being the people. So Numbers 20, verse 3. And the people contended with Moses and spoke, saying, if only we had died when our brethren died before the Lord. They tripping. Now they're referring to when the 250 were feeling some type of way about why is it that Moses and Aaron get to be special? We special too. Like, I don't understand why they think they all of that. So when people are in their feelings, they say some things that they should not say. But that's the first thing in verse 3. If only we had died when our brethren died before the Lord. Verse 4. Why have you brought up the assembly of the Lord into this wilderness that we and our animals should die here? Verse 5. And why have you made us come up out of Egypt to bring us to this evil place? It is not a place of grain or figs or vines or pomegranates, nor is there any water to drink. So people being the people, y'all. And I'm going to keep reading 6 through, but what I wrote was what I want to be better at. Again, I had spoke earlier about how Moses instinctively always fell on his face. So here we go with me reading through to, I'll probably read the verse 13 and pause for a minute. But verse 6, Moses heard them complaining. They real deep in their feelings about their frustrations. We ain't got no water to drink, and we ain't not eating all the things we used to eat, and you just got us out here to die. Verse 6. So Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly to the door of the tabernacle of meeting, and they fell on their faces. Praise God. And the glory of the Lord appeared to them. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, take the rod, you and your brother Aaron, gather the congregation together, speak to the rock before their eyes, and it will yield its water. Thus you shall bring water for them out of the rock, and give drink to the congregation and their animals. Verse 9. So Moses took the rod from before the Lord as he commanded him. 10. And Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly together before the rock, and he said to them, Hear now, you rebels. Must we bring water for you out of this rock? Verse 11. Then Moses lifted his hand and struck the rock twice with his rod, and water came out abundantly, and the congregation and their animals drank. 12. Then the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, because you did not believe me to hallow me in the eyes of the children of Israel. Therefore, you shall not bring this assembly into the land which I have given them. Verse 13, this was the water of Meribah, because the children of Israel contended with the Lord, and he was hallowed among them. So that was 20, verses 1 through 13. And what I wrote there in particular with verses 7 through 13, when Moses had to say some extra stuff, because God said what he said for him to do. And he put a little, he added some spice to it, which God wasn't pleased with that based on his comment. I said Moses allowed his frustration to get in the way of how God wanted to be glorified. And there was consequences for that, unfortunately. But what I'm going to do is wrap up. I'll do another chunk pause from 14 to 21. Now Moses, 14. Now Moses sent messengers from Kadesh to the king of Edom. Thus says your brother Israel, you know all the hardships that has befallen us. 15. How our fathers went down to Egypt and dwelt in Egypt a long time, and the Egyptians afflicted us and our fathers. 16. When we cried out to the Lord, he heard our voice and sent the angel and brought us out of Egypt. Now here we are in Kadesh, a city on the edge of your border. 17. Please let us pass through your country. We will not pass through fields or vineyards, nor will we drink water from wells. We will go along the king's highway. We will not turn aside to the right hand or to the left until we have passed through your territory. 18. Then Edom said to him, you shall not pass through my land, lest I come out against you with the sword. 19. So the children of Israel said to him, we will go by the highway. And if I or my livestock drink any of your water, then I will pay for it. Let me only pass through on foot, nothing more. 20. Then he said, you shall not pass through. So Edom came out against them with many men and with a strong hand. 21. Thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through his territory. So Israel turned away from him. Now we're going to see this happen a few more times in the book of Numbers. Moses is trying to get his people to the promised land. He got to go through some kingdoms, some fortified kingdoms. He essentially doing it the diplomatic way. We don't want no smoke. We're not trying to cause no issues. We're not trying to take any of your resources. We just need you not to attack us. Please give us safe passage. Edom is the first king that says, nah, that ain't happening. And it's understandable, right? He don't heard the story. He see how many it is of them as well. And we know all of them still can't get right or do right. So even though Moses is trying to say, we will stay focused on getting through, we're not going to take anything away from you, we know that the people going to people. And as you keep reading, that's what we see. But King Edom is one of the first kings along the journey to get to the land of Canaan, the promised land, to say, y'all ain't passed through here. I don't trust y'all like that. So that is what happens there with, through 21. And then my response wrapping up from verses 22 through 29, I literally said, man, Aaron ended up getting stripped of his garments and responsibilities. His priesthood was taken away. And it was because he didn't do what he was supposed to do. And so I'm going to read and we're going to stop there because that wraps up chapter 20. But Numbers chapter 20, verse 22. Now the children of Israel, the whole congregation, journeyed from Kadesh and came to Mount Hor. 23. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron in Mount Hor by the border of the land of Edom, saying, 24. Aaron shall be gathered to his people, for he shall not enter the land which I have given to the children of Israel, because you rebelled against my word at the water of Meribah. So disobedience, right? We didn't think anything of it when we read it, but God is circling back to say, yeah, too much is given, much is required. He didn't do what needed to be done. He's not going to be able to enter into the land. 25. Take Aaron and Eleazar, his son, and bring them up to Mount Hor. 26. And strip Aaron of his garments and put them on Eleazar, his son. For Aaron shall be gathered to his people and die there. 27. So Moses did just as the Lord commanded, and they went up to Mount Hor in the sight of all the congregation. 28. Moses stripped Aaron of his garments and put them on Eleazar, his son. And Aaron died there on the top of the mountain. Then Moses and Eleazar came down from the mountain. 29. Now when all the congregation saw that Aaron was dead, all the house of Israel mourned for Aaron 30 days. Sad way to end it, but that is the conclusion of Numbers 16 through 20. The privilege and the burden, right? The privilege and the pressure of what Aaron held, being, one of the first Levites, and then his children coming after him, to be obedient to God and to do what it is that God needed to be done. What we learn is that God is full of mercy, but God is also a God of wrath, and he doesn't play. And I just said, man, because I was like, oh my goodness, like, woo. But what I will say is, if we remember from early in Numbers, when Aaron and Miriam, his sister, the first prophetesses recorded in the Word of God, when they was kind of smelling themselves and talking about, like, why is Moses favored? Like, God spoke to us too and do these things to us too. Y'all remember, God didn't hold Moses accountable in that moment. Miriam was the one who was struck with leprosy. And I remember questioning, like, I wonder why, Aaron didn't get in trouble, but also understanding the mantle that Aaron carried, being a Levite, being called by God to do all the things in the tabernacle of meeting. Because on the daily, somebody was doing something. So there was the sin offering, the wave offering, the peace offering, the first fruit is, so not to say, like, who knows, it's up for God. But Aaron died, y'all, on that mountain because he did not do what he was supposed to do when the people were initially complaining about thirsting and wishing that they was somewhere else to get the type of fruit and things that they felt that they were entitled to. Mind you, they clearly forgotten that oppression was oppression in the land of Egypt, but it be like that sometimes. Anywho, I'm almost at the 47-minute mark. Continue to make it a great weekend. Take care of yourselves. I'm about to go ahead and get up on this water intake. Get back to the dissertation writing until the Unrivaled games come on tonight. I don't know if y'all been watching and hearing about it, but definitely check it out. Phenomenal basketball. Select women in the WNBA out here doing their thing, and I'm loving it. Love y'all. Stay well. As you continue to have questions, comments, hit me up. We can always break bread even offline. But yeah, take care until next time.